I never really considered doing a PhD before because I didn't really think I was smart enough. And then when I was trying to decide what to do after my undergraduate degree, someone suggested doing the PhD. After looking into it a bit more, I found a good number of projects that were quite interesting to me, covering topics that I was really interested in. But Ulster ultimately had the edge up here because they had a bunch of interdisciplinary projects, which meant that not only was I looking into the theory behind the topics that I was really interested in, but I would be applying them to real world scenarios and solving real world problems as part of the project. That on top of the fact that all the students that I had talked to from Ulster said that they had good interactions between the students and the staff, including the lecturers, as well as the Magee campus being pretty close to my home. So yeah, that's why I ended up choosing Ulster. The PhD was made possible for me through the DFE scholarship. It not only paid for my fees, but it also gave me a stipend, which was paid monthly into my bank account. This made the decision to take it on full time a little bit easier. On top of that, I was able to earn a little bit more money through demonstrating, where I helped module coordinators with their practical classes through the week. I was able to do this for about 6 hours a week and it paid pretty well. There's no such thing as a typical day for me anymore. It's pretty much wake up, decide what I need to do, and then go about doing it. And inevitably, there'll be something that'll get in the way, and my plans will have to change on the fly. That said, there are things that help it along. So, for example, I go to my supervisor meetings once every 3 weeks. At those meetings, I tell them what I've done, what I'm planning to do for the next while, and then we agree on a bit of a plan for between now and the next meeting. So whenever I wake up on any given day, I'm looking at that list of things of what to do. That said, if I encounter a problem, I can contact my supervisors, I can ask all the researchers and work through it, but ultimately they will divert from that plan and then I'm doing something different the next day. So yeah, there's no real typical day anymore. The two main support mechanisms that I made use of through my PhD were my supervisors and all the researchers. So the supervisors, whenever I was stuck, they've been through it all before, they've done their PhD, so whenever I had a problem, I could talk to them and they most likely knew what was going on or what to do about it. And even if they didn't, they most likely knew someone who did. So anytime I was stuck, and I mean really stuck, I would turn and ask them and they would pretty much put me in the right direction again, or give me some advice on where to find the information that I needed. So that was obviously really useful. And then on the other side, when I started my PhD, I was the only person in the lab that I was set in. That was a first year, so I have surrounded by all these people who were in their second year, the final years of their PhDs. And so whenever I was stuck again, I could just turn and ask someone while I was there and they would be able to help me out, and they were always willing to do so. So that was really good. The RDP was incredibly useful for three reasons. The first was that it provided a bunch of workshops for you to build up your skills as a researcher. The second was that it prompted you to self-assess, so you would look at what your advantages and disadvantages are and then pick workshops based on that. The last thing was that you got to interact with other researchers who were also attending the workshop. So if there's people that aren't in your lab that you don't normally get to interact with, this was a good opportunity to do so. There were several events that I really enjoyed taking part in during my PhD. The first was the MIT Under 35 Festival, which was a bunch of people who were running businesses and using technology to change the world. This is obviously really interesting to someone who's pursuing research. On top of this, there was the Festival of Research held at Ulster itself, and this is where I got to present my own work as well as listen to fellow PhDs present theirs. The PhD is always talked about like a big challenge, but it's also an opportunity to really prove to yourself what you can do. For me, what I really wanted out of it was better presentation skills and public speaking skills. This is because at school I was very quiet, and anytime I had to do a presentation, I found it quite difficult. I knew that once I got through the PhD, that I'd be happy knowing that I'd overcome this challenge.